Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. Today I'll be creating this layout using the August 2020 Kit Club for Kiwi Lane, and this video is part of a YouTube collab series which a bunch of other Kiwi Lane users are also part of the collab, and they will all have a video using the same kit. So if you don't mind going down in my more section, you will see links to everyone's YouTube channel. By the way, I will be having a giveaway, so part of the rules for the giveaway is that you must subscribe to everyone's channel, including mine. You must leave a comment on everyone's channel and like the video. So give it a thumbs up. And on August 28th, I will pick a winner randomly, and they will receive a small Kiwi Lane package from me. So for this layout, I will be using the August kit, like I mentioned, but I also use some of the new templates, which you can see me using here, the Coastal Highway 2B. I also use Funky Frills number 4. And at first, this kit was really not calling me because I'm in New Jersey. We live in a not totally urban, we're more of a shore community where I live, but I don't think I saw a cow until I was a teenager. So the whole thing with the cowboy boots really threw me off, and the whole like Tex-Mex type of paper and stuff really was a little hard for me. But then I saw that there was papers that had like sunny days, bright, and that actually made me feel more like a beachy theme, and that's what I went with. This is my best friend. We grew up together. I've known her for since I was 4 years old, and I thought it would be a perfect time to use this picture. We were on the beach. It was the first time this year and the only time I've been to the beach, even though I live like 15 minutes away from the beach. So I am going to use this large paper, but I'm only like, you'll see. It's really interesting how I decide to use it. I do cut out, right now I'm using the Funky Frills 4. I do cut out the bottom portion of the paper using this template, but then I kind of let the paper, I don't cut it out the size of the template. I actually use almost the entire sheet of paper, which will serve as one of the layers on my page. Now, some of the templates that came in the kit, like I mentioned, were a cowboy boot. There was this other like border, and I sat and I looked at that border and I was like, I'll never use this. But then I had a bright idea. I decided I was going to do a little mixed media with it. So as you see here, I'm inking my edges, and I am using Tim Holtz Distress Ink in Hickory Smoke. And here's where I decide to start putting things together. The dark blue, I use, again, the Coastal Highway. And I have the yellow the yellow will be my background. And here is where I'm thinking about, all right, maybe I can use that border to kind of give me a little bit of an anchor for my picture, because now the orange paper is kind of big and I really didn't have many plans of putting other things on top of it. So here I'm lining everything up, and then I say, okay, wait a minute, this is not lined up, let's fix this again. And I'm just going to cut the top off of the orange paper and line it up with the yellows to make it a 12 by 12 piece of paper. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, and I don't know why I was struggling, because really it wasn't that difficult, but I guess the paper was not even at this point. So here I mark off where I want to cut, and I'm just going to use my paper cutter to cut off the piece I wanted Oh, I understand. I know what happened. I wanted to leave a yellow border up on the top edge of the paper. And I was having a hard time figuring it out because the paper was already halfway adhered. So this is where I'm going with this layout. And as you can tell, that's a really big orange area. And the picture kind of like swims around. It really needs something to anchor it down. So here's where I decide that I'm going to use some mixed media. And I pull everything aside and I use, it's like a gray, light blue paper, and I'm going to cut a strip off, and I make it a little bigger than the border because, you know, I need to tape down my template. And here I'm going to show you my process. And it's actually really, really simple. I am using some post-it note tape. You can use any kind of tape. You can use washi tape. You could use painter's tape. Anything that has like a low tack, because obviously you want to be able to peel it off. So the post-it tape actually works pretty well. And I've had it for a couple years and I don't think I've ever used it. And when I was organizing my room, I unearthed it and decided I was going to use it. I also tape it a little bit onto my mat because I didn't want it to move. So everything is basically taped from onto the paper, and then the paper is also taped um, to the Tim Holtz mat. So I am using a Shimmers Dazzlers, and this is kind of a paint slash paste. So it's thicker than a paint, thinner than your typical molding paste. Um, so it gives you a little bit of texture. It is not translucent, so it's pretty, what's the right word I'm looking for? It's pretty thick, and it will definitely stand out on this paper. And for this particular one, the color is called Spun Sugar, and you can find it on shimmers.com. And it's Shimmers is spelled Shimmerz. I'm going to try to post a link down in my more section. So it basically, their description says smooth shimmering dimensional paste. So that is what the description is. I am trying to lay it as evenly as possible, not trying to push down too much because I don't want it to spread under the template. And as you can see, I'm peeling it off, and you could see that it has come out perfectly. And you'll see it again. Now I've just set it aside so it could dry, so that I can work on the rest of my layout while it dries. So I've decided that I was going to use these two tags on the right as well as the rings. Now the rings don't end up there, and I was planning on using that sun, and I wanted to use, all right, so the sun is from, it's called A La Carte Shine. The tags are tags 4 and tags 5T. And I am going to cut the sun out of one of the cards that says, I was made for sunny days. And that is the absolute truth. I do not enjoy cloudy days. I don't like winter. From late spring to early fall is my happy time. So here it is dry, and you could see the shimmer on it. So I inked the edges, and now it's time for me to start adhering stuff so I can, you know, get this page going. I apologize for the weird shadows. Right now I'm in the process of reorganizing my room and moving some furniture around, trying to get the right lighting because I'm in a basement, so I don't get much natural light, and I have, the lighting is literally behind my head, and it always casts a shadow on me. So I'm trying to work out how to get my studio lights in the right direction. So just bear with me. I think um, soon I'll have it all figured out. So I add a little fun foam to pop up my sun, and I am going to also pop up my picture just to give it a little dimension in it so that it's not so flat. I just use fun foam. You can pick it up at Walmart or Target. Any big box store sells it. You can also find it at Michael's and Joann's and stuff like that. They're usually in the kids section. They sell them in big packs. Some have adhesive, some don't. Personally, I love the one with adhesive, but it seems to be a little thicker than the one without the adhesive. And I really like, I don't want it to be too popped up, so I really favor the thinner foam. So here I'm playing around with this, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this circle? I'm not going to lie, I really struggled with this layout at first, even getting it out of my head of what I was envisioning, because it's not colors that I normally use, and again, I had a very slim pickings of papers that I would use, that I could use, that were beach theme. So I find this card, and it says, I find happiness where the sun shines. And that's perfect. So I cut my tag out of this, I believe that it's a 4x4 card, and I will be using a hole punch, because if you have a tag, you got to have a hole, and you got to put some ribbon on it, right? Or some sort of string through it. And I also use a We Are Memory Keepers, it's like the reinforcer for the hole, and I use a little scrap of orange paper to finish off this tag, which you will eventually see me do. So now I'm trying to figure out what to do with this little border, and I was thinking it kind of looks like clouds, but I don't know, I was not really feeling it. It's a sunny day, I don't want clouds in it. So here's where I'm just, I don't know, kind of, like I said, struggling a little bit. I'm looking through papers, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, and then I say, okay, well, let me work on this little side here. And this is where I pull out this tag, and I wanted to use, I didn't want to waste a whole sheet of paper, so I'm looking for a tag that I can use, but none of the tags are long enough, and I'm okay with that. So it's going to be tucked behind something anyway, so I'm basically just tracing and cutting out the top portion of this orange. It's actually the back of one of the, or side B of one of the 3x4 cards. And of course, I ink my edges, and I will also be popping a hole in it using a hole puncher, as well as, I don't know if I use a reinforcer for that one, because it's actually pretty covered up. You only see, oh, actually, yeah, all right, I did use a one of the We Are Memory Keepers reinforcers using the punch. So yeah, so that is where that's going to live. I really like how that looks. And here's where I decide that I'm going to use that that template, and that is the Breezy 2A. And I just like the shape of it, and I wanted to add a little bit more of that blue color, even though my photo is popped up, but it's more of a grayish color, so it kind of works its way in. So as I cut this out, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned. I have a lot of exciting things coming up in the next few weeks. I also will be talking about a giveaway that I will be doing once I reach my 1,000 subscribers, which I'm not that far away from, but I had a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, and my birthday's September 10th, and it's coming up quick. It's crazy how quickly time has been flying by. So make sure you you come back and keep a lookout for that giveaway. I also have a few collabs that I'm working on with other groups, and I'm really excited about them. So here I just punched out my hole, and that hole puncher is ancient. I think I bought it in one of those little dollar areas for back to school, and it was for my kids. My daughter actually probably had it in her book bag for many years, and she's out of school, out of college, all of that. So it ended up in my craft punch aisle, drawer, sorry. So this paper is so thick that I was having a really hard time getting the punch to actually work. I was struggling. The struggle was real. Like, I was at that point where I was like, all right, I give up. I'm just going to go to bed. Do you ever have a moment like that where just things are just not working in your favor? Lately, I've been coming across that a lot. So that is why I'm having a hard time with actually being a little more on top of my videos and having them more, posting them in a better order. It's just been like, if it's not one thing, it's another. But hopefully things will start getting better and easier, and I'm actually not gonna lie, but I really love how this layout turned out. Um, you know, I didn't have high hopes. I was not thinking it was gonna be anything spectacular, but I think that I turned out I'm very happy with it. So I'm actually going to use the rings, and I'm going to cut out a little journaling spot. So I'm going to make a little tag out of it using rings, and before I do that, of course, I figured I would use this little template. I'm not sure what to call it, but I don't have it here in front of me. But that came with the August kit, and I wanted to, cut something out that would work right under the tags. And this one says, "You sure do make it a sunny day," and I thought that it was perfect. So I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to also ink my edges, and I will also be popping it up with some fun foam. But anyway, getting back to the circle template, which is rings 2, I end up cutting the inside circle out of one of the cards that is meant to be a journaling card, so that it only has the lines. It's the blue, light blue one. And I also punch a hole, and I also use an orange piece of paper and make a reinforcer for the circle tag, which you'll see me do in a couple minutes. So that is now all going to be adhered down, and I did stop the camera for a second so I can go get some ribbon. So actually it's embroidery floss. One of our cousins found a bunch of crafting stuff in a bag in her house, well, during COVID, and she was cleaning out closets, and she was like, "Here, I have a bunch of stuff that you might want." And I was like, excellent. And there was a bunch of embroidery flosses, and I use them a lot. So thanks, Sabrina. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to cut these I made a little bow. I actually adhered them both together, and I will be popping up the blue one a little bit, just to give it a little bit more dimension. So now everything's coming together. I'm very happy with how this is looking. And I was looking at the templates, and I don't think I'll be, other than using the circle, which you see me doing here, I will also be using my absolute favorite, which is and it's crazy because it's my favorite. I did not write it down, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's It looks like a little file tab, and you'll see me use that, and I will be cutting out the "it's all in the details," which is the top of this card. So not everything has to be used as it's meant. I used my uh, template as a stencil, and honestly, if you go ahead and wash off the paste as soon as you're done, it washed right off. You would never known that I had used paste on it. So just for future reference, if you have any templates that you want to try, even this one with some sort of mixed media, you can even use some of the Tim Holtz distress inks, and just use an inker, and ink the shapes onto your paper. You could do that. You can spray, but I was happy with how it turned out. Very happy. So I'm adhering everything. I'm getting very close to the end of this video, so I just want to tell you the last few things I'm doing, and if you stay till the end of the video, you'll see close-ups of this layout. You can also find all my info where you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and even on Kiwi Lane at the end of my video. So once I adhere this tag, I'm going to write Beach Day with the Bestie, June 2020, Sandy Hook, New Jersey. And the last things I do is I add my title using some thickers, alphas, and they're the really small ones. I believe they came out with one of Paige Evans' kits a couple years ago. I use a little acrylic heart next to the word bums, which is from Elle Studio, and I end up using some light blue enamel dots that are, I believe, by, let's see, Echo Park, and I think they're by Echo Park. And I also end up using some gold splatters using the Jen Hadfield, either the Jen Hadfield or the Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I'm not sure which one I use. And then I also do a blue one because I felt like I needed a little blue. And the blue one is also by Shimmers, and it's a Vibes, and the color is called Deep Blue Sea. So I'm just looking for what I could use on this layout, and first I was going to use these little dots. Actually, I do use these little dots, and they are not from Echo Park. They are actually Nuvo drops that I did ahead of time on wax paper. If you want me to make a video on how I do it and make my own enamel dots, leave me a message. Leave me a comment. I will definitely make a video if there's enough interest for it. I love it because you can make them whatever size you want, and as big as small. So I'm able to, match so many other things instead of just having enamel dots, from that are already made. And I can make them on demand if I need them. You can also use the Nuvo drops directly on your paper, but my problem is that I forget that they're wet, and then I smear them everywhere. So this is a great way to not smear your Nuvo drops, and that's by making them ahead on some wax paper and just letting them sit. So usually I'll do that like right before I'm leaving my craft room, so they could sit on my desk till the next morning, and then the next morning I just pop them off and I put them in that little container that you saw. So I do make a few clusters. I do like having clusters of 3. So you'll see that I have 3 up by the sun. I have 3 by the tag. I will have 3 down below, and I have 3 around the right side of my photo. Now, as I'm adding actually I end up using, I thought I was closer to the end of the video than I actually was, so I'll continue talking about this layout. I end up using Heidi Swapp Color Shine, as you can see, and as I'm putting it down, I realized that there was a lot of yellow that was very heavy down at the bottom, and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? So I end up taking the paper that I used for the that I cut out the breezy, and you'll see me do that in a second. And here's where I'm using the blue shimmers, and I really love this color. It's absolutely beautiful. And there it is, Deep Blue Sea by Vibes by Shimmers. And that's the Heidi Swap. The Heidi Swap is no longer available. It's been discontinued, but you can find the exact same product by Jen Hadfield in a bigger bottle, and it is exactly the same thing, and it's basically made by the same people because it's an American craft product. So you can definitely still find it out there. It's just labeled differently. So I pull out my T-square and I'm going to spell out my title, Beach Bums. And you know, it turned out perfectly because I didn't want a humongous title. I had a lot of words going on my layout. So these stickers were perfect because they were the perfect size and they nestled perfectly under that tag. And yeah, I was very happy with it. I'm very happy with how this layout turned out. Definitely better than what I expected. So I am spelling it out, and as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with the bottom of the of my layout because it's really yellow at the bottom, and there's like nothing going on. So that's when I will just cut a 1/4 inch, maybe even less than a 1/4 inch, thick strip of paper, just straight across of that paper that I used the Breezy template, and I'm going to adhere it at the bottom. I was thinking of using that red heart, but there's nothing red on my layout, so instead I use this, it's like a clear one. It has a little bit of, yeah, I was going to say it had a blue tinge, but it really doesn't. It's a clear acrylic heart, and I'm just going to adhere that with a little bit of wet glue. And then I wanted to use that top part where it says it's all in the details, down at the bottom of the page, and that is where I look for my absolute favorite template, which is from the Charmed collection, and I believe that is Charmed 3, and it's like a tab, and I have used this so many times. So many times that I actually had to get 2 of them. I have 2 Charmed collections because that is my most used template. So I am cutting out, I'm going to ink, and then I was trying to see where I wanted to put it, and I was like, no, no. And that's when I was like, yeah, I think I need something down below. And that's where I'm like working my way down. At first I thought, well, maybe I'll use it for something else. And here's where I think my layout's done. I even bring it up to show it to you. And here's where I take a strip of this paper and just add it to the bottom, and it's not even straight. As you can tell, I'm like, oh geez, that is not straight. So I will adhere it to my, I'm going to ink it, and then I'm going to add it to the bottom of the page, and I'm just going to use my scissor to straighten it out. I do end up, once everything's adhered, I do end up going back and adding some more Heidi Swap Color Shine and some more of the Shimmers spray to that little bottom cluster that you're going to see me create. So now I am pretty sure I am getting close to the end of this video. So I am going to say thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to leave us a comment, like, and subscribe to all the hoppers. I think there's only like 4, maybe 6 of us. So you'll find their information down below. Don't forget to do that. And on the Friday the 28th, I will be selecting a random winner for a small prize pack. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.